We are capitalists. Whether or not you agree with the ins and outs of that economic system changes nothing. It is what you were born into, it is what you've grown up as. You and I, and probably everybody we know, at almost a primitive level, want something to compete with Call of Duty. Because we know that that is the only thing that will make it better. At this point in time, Call of Duty only competes with itself. It's Treyarch against Infinity Ward. And the way I see it, Black Ops 2 is the first time Treyarch has won that competition, but I know some people see that differently. But when they do, when you know, one Call of Duty does beat another Call of Duty, it's only ever by a slim margin. And when people say it's the same game re-released every year, it's the fucking truth. You know, I got back on Modern Warfare 2 a couple nights ago, and I almost forgot that I was playing, you know, like a 4-year-old game, or however old, I think it's 4 years old now. You know, every time a new non-Call of Duty game comes out, people talk about this mythical dethroning of COD. They talked about it with Halo Reach, they talked about it with Battlefield 3, Crysis 2. Halo 4 didn't make the list for whatever reason, but once again on the forums and the comment sections of videos, or the commentators in the videos themselves, people are talking about Crysis 3 being the next big thing. And it won't be. And everybody knows it won't be, but we all have this sort of wishful thinking that something will give COD a run for its money. But after half a decade and 5 Call of Duties, it hasn't happened. Despite all our wishful thinking and all our complaints and our depressing monologues about how terrible Call of Duty is. And to be frank, every single time a new game came out and people talked about how it might dethrone Call of Duty, I knew it wouldn't stand a chance. I wanted it to, but I knew it wouldn't. Even when I thought it was a better game, I knew it wouldn't stand a chance. And I do think, right now, Crysis 3 will be a better game than Call of Duty. I think it has cooler kill streaks, I think it has a much more in-depth ranking system, I think it has much better looking scenery. And I think once you get through the learning curve, it has much more exciting gameplay. But I know it's not going to be Call of Duty, and anyone who says otherwise doesn't understand what makes Call of Duty great. People always blame the audience, that people are just too stupid, and they keep buying Call of Duty and don't understand true art, and they're just too newbie to get into a game like Battlefield or Halo. People like to blame society, but we are society. You only know that the most recent Call of Duty is garbage because you bought the most recent Call of Duty and found out yourself that it was garbage, and I'm not criticizing you because I am in the exact same boat. Call of Duty will remain king in this generation of consoles, which fortunately ends this year. This year, the new generation of consoles is coming out this Christmas. But it is inaccurate and counterproductive to blame the Call of Duty supremacy on the people. People buy what they like, and it just so happens that people like drugs. Gaming is a drug. It's an escape from reality, the same as any other drug. And Call of Duty is the ultimate drug, at least in terms of games. Its beauty is in its simplicity. Anyone, my 10-year-old little brother, can get on Call of Duty right now and as a level 1 character put some work in. The learning curve is figuring out the controls, which have been the same on every multiplayer game for like a decade, and after that you can just play. You don't have to train your mind to adjust to recoil because there basically is none. And Call of Duty knows that low recoil is what sells. Why do you think the Peacekeeper is a frickin' sniper rifle? Why do you think every SMG in this game, excluding the Scorpion, can compete with assault rifles on any map? And look, I'm not saying that everyone is just instantly a pro, as a lot of critics claim, but nobody ever feels debilitated. Nobody ever feels like it's impossible. Now you compare this to a game like Crysis or Battlefield. Those games have fat-ass steep learning curves. You know, for the first couple of matches that somebody plays on those games, they're going to get discouraged. They're going to feel beat up on. They're not going to know how to get a kill. Game like Crysis, they're not going to know where that guy came from because he was invisible standing right in front of you. And for some reason, everyone is fully invisible except for me. When I go invisible, they can see the outlines of my character. When they're invisible, they're just fucking invisible. It's stupid. Alright? Now, look. When I first started playing Crysis, and I have said it's a good game, and I released a video calling it good, giving you tips and tricks on how to get through the learning curve. But even I was getting very frustrated with all the different mechanisms in the game. You know, there's invisibility, there's air stomps, there's very exotic recoil. Alright, here's my other question about Crysis. The game is set in the future, to the point that we have recharging shields and invisibility, but we haven't solved recoil? Please, son. Now, games like Crysis are hard, and what makes Battlefield even harder is the size of the maps and the pace at which you have to play the game. Call of Duty, you can just run around the map and fight people, kill people, camp somewhere, call in a hellstorm. It is this immediate satisfaction, an on-demand dopamine rush to the pleasure center. This is not the case with Battlefield. You have to take your time. People can shoot you at anywhere, from any time, anywhere on the map. You have to know how to counter vehicle assaults. You can't just roam the map. Most of the time you have to move methodically, planning every single step. People are head glitching rocks. There's snipers. And it's not an easy game, and it's not a quick dopamine rush. You gotta work hard to stimulate the pleasure center in games like Battlefield and Crysis. Especially when you are trying to adjust to the recoil, which is, you know, anyone who's played Battlefield and Crysis, they're gonna say now, like, I mean, the recoil is not that bad because you got used to it. But when you're first playing the game, it's freaking impossible to get used to that recoil. And I remember when I first started playing Battlefield like 2 or 3 years ago, I had the same learning curve problems that I had with Crysis just a few days ago. And you know, I've put days and weeks into Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield. I'm not a legend, but I've been playing games for 5 years, multiplayer games for 5 years. I'm not an amazing player, but I'm a veteran, damn it. And so if I'm struggling with it, how are the weekend warriors adjusting to it? You know, how are the casual randy dandies doing it? And on top of that, Call of Duty is 60 frames per second. I believe it's only 30 on Battlefield. It's less than that on Crysis. I'm not a tech guy, but here's my question. How come nobody else has been able to make a 60 frames per second engine? The frame rate is what makes it so smooth and responsive. It's like one of the most important parts, and nobody but Call of Duty has been able to hit that mark. What's up with that? Alright? Now here's the dilemma, is that what makes COD great, why COD sells, is because it's simple. It is an immediate dopamine rush to the pleasure center. Like I said, it is not the same with other games. But to beat Call of Duty, a game will have to dumb up to its simplistic standards. But the fact is, the beauty of games like Crysis and Battlefield is in their complexity. And so you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But hey, consoles, new consoles are coming out this Christmas. PS4, Xbox 720. I hope they don't call it the Xbox 720. That's just going to sound dumb, you know. But I don't think they will. I think they're smart in that. But if they do, shame on them. That's what a stupid, unoriginal name. They couldn't have thought of something cooler. How about the square box, the Y box, the Z box, the B box? But yeah, new consoles are coming out, and that's going to change everything. All new game engines. Everything, all the pieces are thrown up in the air. We'll see where they land. We'll see which console's better. We'll see who makes the better games, and it might not be Call of Duty this time. So keep your chins up, folks. Now, there's 2 buttons in the lower right of this video with little thumbs up and thumbs down on them. Hit the green one if you like boobies. This is Batman signing out.